Thank you, Mr. Moderator, fellow Winchester Town meeting members and residents. My name is Jerius. I'm a town meeting member from Precinct 8, and by now all of you know that I live at 26 Canal Street, one block off of Main Street, and I've been there for approximately 20 years. Unfortunately, I will repeat some of the words that have come before, and I apologize, but here we go. Article 11 involves the rezoning of properties on side streets of Main Street, north of Skillings Road. I urge you to vote for it. First, I would like to talk about everyone's least favorite subject, and that is zoning. What is zoning, and why is there zoning? Zoning is a means for a community to ensure that development of land reflects the community's values and needs. It exists because over time, society has recognized that certain types of development are beneficial and others are detrimental. Sometimes there are community concerns that need to be addressed, such as increasing tax revenues or preserving natural resources. It is there because property owners and neighbors don't necessarily see eye to eye about what is appropriate, and providing a standard set of rules makes it easier for us to get along. Zoning is not static. Just as our society and economy changes, so does and so should zoning. What was appropriate 75, 50, even 20 years ago is not necessarily appropriate now. The area around North Main Street used to be heavily industrialized with multiple factories and worker housing. The factories are gone and it is now primarily residential. And zoning has changed to reflect that. What was once industrial is now mixed use or even residential. As Ms. Schleicher pointed out, between 1973 and 2000, significant sections of Main Street and Swanton Street were rezoned from light industrial and commercial to residential to reflect and to protect their residential character. Zoning is always a balancing act between the needs of property owners and the needs of the community. It should always reflect the values of the community as represented by you, town meeting members. So what is before you this evening is essentially a test of those values. At the heart of Article 11 is the intent to maintain the residential character of the neighborhoods off of North Main Street by permanently protecting several key gateway properties as residential. Now, there are 39 lots in the articles before you. I'm not going to go through my description of them all. A good chunk of them are there so that we can align zoning boundaries with lot lines and provide protection to the residential lots, because otherwise they would be vulnerable to very narrow setbacks. There are also 2 lots on Watson Place, which are zoned GBD3, and are on a side street to a side street of Main Street in a residential zone. Why they're GBD3 is a mystery, but they should probably all be zoned residential. I hope you'll agree with that. What remains are 7 lots, which are currently zoned GBD2 and GBD3. And why are they in this article? They're here because they are the very first lot off of Main Street on their side streets. They are the gateways to those neighborhoods. Currently, they can be redeveloped at the same scale and setbacks as properties on Main Street. Imagine seeing a building 45 feet high, just 15 feet off the road on your side street. That's what the threat is to these neighborhoods. These properties are indisputably residential. They have been in residential use for between 90 and 138 years. All but one of these lots retains the original residential structure, and the one from 1880 is still there. They've been part of these neighborhoods on these side streets for longer than most of us have been alive. These are residential neighborhoods. These lots are not on Main Street, and they should not be developed as if they were. And this is where zoning comes in. What value should the town put on these lots? If this town meeting agrees that these lots are residential, that they are fundamentally part of their neighborhood, then it should rezone them as such and do it now. It should recognize, just as the town meeting late last century, that with the other residential lots on Main and Swanton Street, that they should be protected as residential. If this meeting does not rezone these parcels tonight, if we wait, as some have said, for the town master plan to be completed and further economic studies to be done, we have de facto given our consent to their development. We know exactly what is happening on Main Street, on North Main Street, and the type of development we will get. It's happening where the former Scruples salon is. That's exactly what we'll see wrapped around the corners, invading our side streets.
Mr. Jerius, your 5 minutes is up.
May I have 30 more seconds?
1 minute.
Proceed.
1 minute.
Could you do me a favor? The chair's allowing a lot of latitude in terms of the discussion. You can speak about the main motion in order, in fact, to speak about the amendment. But if you could occasionally refer to the amendment that's before us, that would be helpful.
Okay, well, yes. Well, my key point is about these 9 properties, which this amendment would remove from the article. These are the gateway properties. What I want to point out is this isn't a wait and see or wait and study question. There's no way to kick the can down the road and leave the responsibility of this decision to another town meeting 5 or 6 years from now. And I say 5 or 6 because that's how long it takes to go from the master plan, which is done in 2020, to final zoning. It took us 6 years to go from the economic surveys to the zoning of the central business district. Main Street is another large commercial zone. It will take that much time. So let's be clear about what it means if town meeting does not rezone these. It means that you do not believe that their value is in their residential nature, or that they provide a buffer to the neighborhoods, or that they are part and parcel. It means that you have no problem with building Main Street scale properties along a residential street. This gets back down to values. What is before you this evening is essentially a test of those values. I hope that you value these neighborhoods as much as I do, and you vote no on this amendment and vote yes on Article 11. Thank you.
Thank you.